Happy Monday. Well, I had a really good suggestion from a friend who had cataract surgery, and during her in-between time between eyes, she had the lens removed from the new eye and said that really helped her see better during that period of time. And it seemed like a good suggestion, so I just came back from town, went to my optometrist's office, and they took out the lens. Wow. I saw double. I got vertigo really bad. I thought I was going to throw up. I hung out in the office a while to see if it would get any better, and it didn't. Oh, it was bad. So I had to put it back in. So I'm going to just struggle this next week with my vision being blurry and messed up and a little bit feeling off kilter. That's okay. Hopefully that at least I know what it would have felt like if I did it. I don't have to question my doctor or like the validity of my doctor's advice anymore. I'm going to trust her. That was definitely good advice that she gave me, that maybe it would be better not to do that. Yeah. So anyway, I have both my lenses in. I was going to try and do it without a lens in there, but that's not going to work for me. The doctor's office said that when your prescription is so strong in your eyes, that a lot of times that doesn't work for people. So apparently. Well, I did do some stuff this weekend. Saturday, we got the Corey Yoder Calico & Co. Cali & Co. Block of the Month Mystery for block 11. And I downloaded that. And that is what the block looks like on here. And this is what the block looks like after it's made up with my fabrics. So it's a churn dash. And looking at it on the screen, I can see the churn dash now. I'm having trouble seeing it otherwise, and I'm not sure if it's because of my eyes. So let me know. Are you able to see the churn dash very easily? Probably if this fabric and the churn dash fabric were different, that would probably stand out a lot more. But anyway, that's a cute block. So this is her block. This is my block. Yeah. Okay. Because I was like, did I make it wrong? No, I made it right. Okay. So that is the churn dash block for the block 11. So next month, I don't think it's until the 17th or so that we're gonna, or maybe it's the 20th. Did I write it down? When is the last one? I think she might be waiting till later in the month. Yeah, the 20th. So it's not until the 20th that we'll be getting the last block and maybe the final putting together instructions. And then we're going to be getting a bonus pattern to use those corners that we've been cutting off every month. So that's going to be cool. So I got that. I decided to do that right away. My eyes weren't working right. I was like, you know what? This is simple. I already have the pieces cut out. My eyes were getting really tired. So I'm finding that by the end of the day, my eyes get really tired. So I was able to do that. No problem. What I've also been finding is that when my eyes get tired, I've been able to take my glasses off and do close-up work, because my prescription eye still sees nearsighted. My new eye is farsighted, but I can see nearsighted with my normal regular eye without my glasses on. So I've been doing some hand stitching on my Beauty All Around, more so than usual. So I was able to get this bird block done. I decided to do the wings with red, so it's red-winged blackbird, sorta. So that is what I did to finish this block. I used for the outside of the body, the black bird bodies, I used up pieces of leftovers from projects from the 90s. So that was a good use. And for the green, I've been using different greens for that. So then I was able to start my next block, which is this one. So I started that today, a little bit last night, and I'm having such a good time doing this. So I'm working on, I got the center black done and I got the red circle done. I'm now working on, looks like a pitchfork to me, but whatever that is. Working on the reds now, since I'm putting black around the outside of that. So since I had black out from doing this, I decided to move on to these. You doing black there. So once I get done with that block, I have 2 more blocks. This block and this block to do. So those are the last 2 that haven't been done. And I've got quite a bit done. These are all the other blocks that are done. That. It's called Beauty All Around, and this was a kit and pattern from Keepsake Quilting when they were in New Hampshire, and they had a tent sale, and they had the pattern, and then they had the wool pieces in little baggies with just like block 1, block 2 in little baggies, and they were like 25 cents a piece, I think. So I had gotten the pattern was only like 75 cents, and then these wool pieces were cheap enough that I got all of them, except they were missing, I think, block 6. So I just got another, I used some of the wool from another block to make that block. But I've had this for decades. I've had all of the pieces for decades and decided to put it on muslin. And when I get this done, I still have to make the sashing blocks. And I'm planning to do it as like a quilt as you go in sections, and I'm gonna do hand quilting. So this is gonna be pretty much hand sewn, whole thing. Well, I'll do the machine sewing of the pieces together, but so that's it. So that's what I've gotten done on Beauty All Around and what I have planned to do on Beauty All Around. And I'm really liking this project. It's fun, and it's something that I can do while I'm listening and watching the YouTube videos and work on this. So that's been getting a little bit more of my time, which is fun. I actually, my plan has been to do an hour a day, an hour a week on Beauty All Around, and then I don't have a specific time, but spend some time on my slow stitch journal. So I already did an hour this morning on Beauty All Around. So I have that done for the week. Anything extra will be bonus. I still need to work on the slow stitch journal. This is page 11. Working on page 11 of this. I'm going to be sewing this down and doing some embroidery around the edge of that, which I haven't decided yet what to do. And then I think I have some little things that I'm going to be putting on the page here. Like this came out of my friend's. This would look nice, and I'm just gonna tack this somewhere on here as something that my friend Jean had given me, a little baggie of slow stitching stuff. Actually, that's where I got all this from. So I'm just gonna add some stuff that I got from my friend Jean, who is moving to California. Her and her husband are moving to California to live with their daughter because he can't take care of the place anymore. So she's gotten rid of a bunch of her hand sewing stuff, which is sad, but it's got a good home with me, and I'm going to be using it. So she's happy about that. So that's good. One of the other things is my scrap basket is packed. Now, it's not only full, it's like been pressed down by all the stuff in here. So what I'm noticing is that no matter how many pieces I take out of the top, it just rises. It's like the loaves and the fishes. It's just reproducing in here. So until I get some of this weight out of here, it's going to be the case. So for this, I'm planning. Previously, when I was working on my decades of scraps, I had tasked myself with doing 30 minutes a day, 3 times a week. And I was doing that for like a year and a half. But for this basket now, I would like to get this emptied out before the new year. So my tasking to myself is 30 minutes a day, 6 days a week. I'll take Sundays off, but it's getting there. I mean, it was way up here before, so I'm getting there. I have 2 bins here that I cut them into the usable sizes, like pre-cuts and strips. 2.5-inch strips for longer pieces, and then if it's less than 2.5-inch strips, I have a strip bin that I'm storing them in. And then I also have for really small scraps, I have this, and I'm collecting those to use for stuffing for stuff. This is how much I have right now. I had a huge bag that I made into a cat bed. So this is what I've done since just in the last couple days. This is those scraps, so I just add that into here, empty that out, and start afresh with that emptied for tomorrow. And this is what I have for crumbs. These are the crumbs that I will use to sew together to make blocks. I think I'm making 10-inch blocks, and I'm doing it by color now. So I've been working on the purple. So I'm using them kind of like leaders and enders. I have a glass tray where I have little tiny pieces spread out, and then I have this bowl that are bigger pieces that I've sewn together. So here's some of the purple crumbs that I've been sewing together with very tiny pieces. And then I'll sew these into, what I'm doing right now is sewing them into 10-inch blocks. So that's what I've got so far. And for scraps, and then for these, what I've been doing since, as you can see, I'm trying to sew them together in color families. Got little baggies where I will be emptying this out on my cutting table and sorting them out by colors, and then putting them by the colors into the baggies. Greens, there's some blues, some pinks, apparently another pinks, and here's some blacks with some white in it. These are mostly yellows, tannish brown. Anyway, so I've got this basket that I'm holding these baggies in. And when I get done with the purples or get down to where there's not a lot of variety in the purple scraps, I'll move on to starting on a different color. But the purples have been what I've been working on. And then I sew up, besides the strips, I also sew them up into like the smallest pieces that I cut are 1.5, and this is what I have so far in my 1.5 inch bin. My 2.5 inch bin is this one, and I was able to actually go down a size. I had it in a 12-inch project box, but I was able to move it into this because I used up a lot of 2.5 inch blocks to make those Mondo bags that use 2.5 inch blocks, and I used up a lot of purples and pinks when I was making those bags. So I was able to use enough of those so that I could move down in size for the 2.5 inch blocks. So anyway, that's how my scrap system is. And then I cut them into 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, and then I go to 5, 8, and 10. And then if they're fat quarter size, they get cut into a fat quarter and put in my fat quarters. So anything that's smaller than a fat quarter goes, I start cutting the largest size I can get out of it, which is usually 10 inch or 8 inch, and then go down in size from that. But I start with cutting the largest size I can get out of the piece of fabric, scrap fabric that I'm cutting. If it's longer and narrower, I'll just cut a strip. Or even like if it's shorter, I'll still cut sometimes I'll cut a strip. So I have a lot of strips I'm going to be doing next year in 2026. I want to have a strip quilt in the process, working on that too. So let's see. That was my scraps. I did my coriander, Callie & Co. Coriander Quilts block of the month is finished. So what am I going to be working on this week? I'm going to be working on my slow stitch page. I'm going to be doing this yet this week. This is the page that I've already finished. That's the front and the back. And this slow stitch journal will have 12 pages. So, like 1, 2, 3, whatever. So I still have a ways to go on that. And I have not designed the pages. I just have 3 pages where I had the practice stitches. And then all the rest of the pages are for practice. So I got to design pages to practice on. I also this weekend was able to get the pieces cut out for the By Annie ICASES 2.0 pattern. Now my iPad is needing to have something I can transport it and protect it in. So this is going to be perfect for that. So it also has a zipper on the back side of it where you can put your cord. So this is going to be wonderful for when I'm traveling to protect my iPad, which has been of a concern to me. I have it at one of those magic keyboards that folds up onto it, and I really worry about wearing that out with rough use and transporting. So this is the fabric that came. I got this kit from Renaissance Ribbons. It was the mini Tula Pink Renaissance Ribbons subscription bag. Comes in a bag, not a nice box like some of the other subscriptions, but it has a lot of stuff in it. It comes with a whole package of soft and stable foam to use for making the project. So this was the fabric. This Tula Pink fabric came with it, and this piece is cut out for the back pocket, the back area of it where the zipper's going to be going. Back pocket, yep. And This is the main fabric. This is one I got at a store here. This is the main fabric that I'm using. So we can consider this to be from my stash, because I wanted something that has the purple in it that goes with this purple. And it does. I like this together. This I'm using for the lining, and that came in the kit also. That's Tula Pink. So that's going to be the lining. And then this is also from my stash. So that's these will be going together. And there were some other pieces. This is the flap. So this will be, when this gets folded, I think this will be going like on here, like this, on one end of this. Now I'm going to be quilting this, so this is oversized. I have to quilt it and then cut it down to the right size. So apparently the right size is going to be this, because this gets this interfacing on it, and I'll be putting it on there. So I think this is going to look really cool together. And then my binding is going to be this fabric to go around it. So let's see. I'll show you all the fabrics together. These, this, and this. And then this is the lining. So this is my eye case that I'm working on. My next step for this is to do the quilting on those big pieces. It's got the by Annie foam in the middle, and when you're she recommends then that you iron each side onto the foam. It doesn't stick, but she said it helps it to cling better, and then pin it. The pattern says the pattern's written without quilting this. So what they recommend in the pattern regularly is that you just sew the edges down and then cut it to the right size, and then sew the edge around all the edges. And then they said because of the coatings that are on the front and back of the by Annie foam, it will stay together better. However, if you want to quilt it, they recommend that you cut everything bigger because of shrinkage, and then after you've quilted the fabric, then you cut out the pieces. So that's what I'm doing, because I like the quilted look of on the bags, and I'm good with doing that extra work on them. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I had written myself actually a note so I wouldn't forget some of the stuff that I wanted to discuss with you. My birthday was 2 days after my cataract surgery. Happy birthday! But I got my son, my adult son, he knows if he's over at a friend's house and he's using a scissors or something, he'll be like, these aren't fabric scissors, are they? He knows, he's learned. He can actually reel off names of quilt blocks. If you show him a quilt, he'll be like, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Anyway, I told him I have a new favorite quilt shop, and I told him the name, and I told him the location. So I said, if you wanted to get me any presents, that would be where to go. Well, what a good boy. He did. One of the presents that he got me was something that I never even knew that this existed. And when he gave it to me, I was like, okay, all right, I'll give it a go. It's a seam ripper. Okay, but it's not your regular seam ripper. It's by Gypsy Quilter. He said he got it. He was like, it's purple, Mom. I had to get it. And then he said the other ladies in the store were saying, oh my God, you won't believe how great this works. It's like a clip, you know, the clipper that the barbers use, right? Has a little on-off switch. Listen. Okay. It's a seam ripper. It runs on a battery that you input into here. I've been having, with my eyes being like this, I've been sewing things wrong and using the seam ripper a lot, which has been difficult to see because the threads, right? And I actually, when I was working on one of the Lori Holt bags, the extra end of the zipper had folded over, and I actually sewed it to the back, and I used this to cut the threads, and it worked. I've used it 4 times now since I got it on Wednesday of last week. I've used this 4 times, and I can't believe how good it works. So this is one of my new favorite tools. Now, well, all right, what my quilting friends, when we get together and they have to rip, they ask if anybody has the Liz. So this for many, many, many decades, a ripper has been named after me because I do a lot of ripping at our events, not paying attention. The ripper has been named after me. My friend Edie made me and her sister and her each shopping bags that we take when we go on quilting shopping trips, and mine's the rippity doodah. Ripping is going to be my legacy. But anyway, this seam ripper is wonderful. Anyway, highly recommend. I think it was like $21, somewhere around that area. Yeah, this works really good. What a good boy. He did such a good job. So I wanted to mention that so that I could share that good find. Let me know, have any of you ever seen this being sold in any of your quilt shops? Because she had just gotten this in. This was at So Chateau in Lisbon, Maine. She had just gotten this in, I guess. And I haven't seen this anywhere else. Very, very cool. So let's see. I cut out the pieces for the Bianni pattern. I got to say too, I watched the tutorial, and the problem with I have myself with the Bianni tutorials is that she really only addresses specific. If something in the pattern is different from their general directions, she addresses that in the add-on YouTube video tutorial that she has for that pattern. But there's other basic steps that you have to go elsewhere on their website to find. The other basic, like installing a zipper, putting on binding, cutting out. If that pattern allows for reversed or like directional fabrics, I guess there's another place that you have to go to. And I really could have used the directional fabric tutorial, but I was just my eyes were so tired that I just couldn't go look for it. So I've sent them a message asking them if they are at any point considering making tutorials for their projects that go from beginning to end of that entire project, because I find that would be very useful for me. Sewers Club does that, and I love their tutorials, and that's how my brain works better, being able to see. I mean, I can skip forward if I already know it, but it would be very nice to have the tutorials go right from each pattern, go from beginning to end, because when you're doing patterns and you haven't done them regularly, you forget. And I like having it all in one place and not having to go searching for every little bit and piece of different steps to find the video tutorial. So anyway, I had sent another message because when I was watching the ICASES tutorial, the last step that they had in it didn't have sound. It had sound in the beginning, and then most of it didn't have any sound. And she does a lot of talking and giving you tips while she's talking that you can't see on the screen, because she's saying stuff that really isn't, you have no idea what she's saying. So I sent them a message yesterday to say that there's no sound in this part of the tutorial for this pattern. And they got back to me same day and said that they have it fixed, and I should go back in and I can hear the rest of it. And it was fixed right away. So if you are going into any of the By Annie stuff, send them a message if you're having any trouble with anything. And boy, they get back to you right away. And I think I heard in one of her videos that she was thinking about making a from step one, from start to finish of patterns tutorials. So I just think if we all give her, inundate her with messages saying that's what we'd like, maybe it'll happen sooner rather than later, or happen, period. I'd like to just have that happen. So join me in sending By Annie messages asking them to do their video tutorials from start to finish for each pattern. Just give us the start to the finish. So that was one of the things with the By Annie. So I'm going to be getting also, so this was the ICASES is the mini Tula Pink project. I'm going to be getting one more of those this year, because I want to see exactly what, I want to give it more than 1 month. I'm going to do another month of that. I'm going to be getting my second, I've been pausing it, pause, the Ditty Bag 2.0. I'm going to be getting one more of that. That's actually just paid for, and it was 50 something. So that should be coming pretty soon, next week or two. I would think that would be coming. And then I'm going to be, you saw my opening for the big mega bag from Renaissance Ribbons, and I'm going to be getting one more of those, and that's going to be coming in I think January 4th. And the next mini kit for this will be coming, I think, December 4th, because the mini and the mega are every other month. The Ditty Bag is every month. And they're expensive, but it's quality, and you're getting a lot of materials in there. But I think it seems to me like they're in partnership with By Annie patterns, and we'll see if all the patterns that I get in the next one are By Annie. I'm wondering if that's all you do, if that's all you get is the By Annie patterns. I don't know, but I want to see for the next ones what I'm going to be actually getting. So for also, okay, Wawak, WAWAK.com. It's a sewing supply company, and they're out of, I think they're out of New York. They're out on the East Coast. And I think it's New York. They've been in business since the early 1900s, and they sell sewing supplies. And I have them on their email list, and I also have I also got their paper catalog too, which is wonderful. So you can also sign up for get their paper catalog, which you don't see a lot of companies doing anymore. It's all online. But they sell not only for home sewists, but they sell for professional sewists. But they have their home sewing needles on sale today and tomorrow, and then the sale is over. And I ordered myself a bunch of quilting needles. They have the quilting needles are on sale for $3.26 for a 5-pack, which is a really good price. And then they had getting some jersey needles, which are $2.66 for a 5-pack. Stretch needles are $2.99 for a 5-pack. And then jeans needles are $2.77 for a 5-pack. Quilting needles are a little bit more expensive, but I've been going through needles. I've been going through a lot of needles. So I'm actually getting quite a few of the quilting needles, Because what I'm trying to do is get my basic supplies. I want to get my basic supplies stocked up now because I am going on a very low buy for 2026. My plan is I will have for sure one subscription box. I'm not sure if I'm going to do two. I got to look at my budget, and I got to look at how much my health insurance goes up next year to see how much I have extra, because I also need to have money for my maintenance of my sewing machines and stuff. So next year is going to be a low buy year, and I'd like to have all the basic supplies stocked up that I need so that I can carry through with a low buy year in 2026. And I have plenty of batting. I have lots of thread. I will now have enough needles for sure to get me through the year. And I have tons of fabric. The only things that, if I do a lot of bag making next year, the only things that I might have to buy would be foam, I think. Maybe interfacing foam kind of stuff. But I'm going to be really set so that I can actually stick to that. I will be buying at the main quilt show, the main state quilt show. If I go to any other quilt shows, I like to support small businesses. If anybody in the family is watching, you can always get me a gift certificate for Sew Chateau, and I will go shopping over there. I like to support small businesses. And if I need basic supplies, or if something absolutely special that is not going to be available, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write it down and say, give it some time, stew it over. Do I really need that? And then wait. And then if I can't stop thinking about it, then I will buy it. I'm going to try not to do impulse purchases. Soft squares, you're the death of me. I've been strong. I've been lurking on your live sales, Lynn, and being quiet. And I haven't been buying lately. I did buy when you sent me a sort of discount code for my birthday. I had to use that. Yeah. Anyway, that's how things are going. I also this week, if maybe I'd like to also, if my eyes are cooperating, get the pattern pieces cut out for Morning Glories. That's my November UFO that I haven't done anything on. And any of these projects that I had lined up for this year that I haven't even started, will probably be put into a box for my 2026 UFO challenge, monthly challenge. So I'm going to be making up boxes for January through December, with a project in each project box that then will each month we'll get a number or letter will get picked to decide what project I'll be working on. So I'm going to be setting those up in December, and I'll probably some of these subscription box projects that I haven't been able to get to will probably then go into one of those UFO challenge boxes, as long as it's not something that I'm going to need for a present. Because what I'm finding is that I need to have things that I want to make for specific gifts need to not be, because what if it doesn't get picked until it's too late? Which is something that happened this year. Luckily, those boxes got picked before I needed them, but I was thinking, oh man, if this hadn't gotten picked, I'd had to come up with another birthday present or whatever. So I'm putting more thought into what I'm going to be putting in those project boxes. And my mental thinking is going to be that I don't have to get them done that month. I just want to make progress on them. So I have to tell my brain things in order to not stress my brain, because then I get overwhelmed, and then I'm then I'm thinking that that's the only project I can work on for that month, and then I just don't work on all the other projects that I want to work on. So I have to work with my brain, and convince it that this is good. You've just made progress on this UFO project, and maybe it'll have to go over into 2027, and that'll be okay. You know? Yeah, we got to figure out how to make our brain okay, but also how to make it work on the things we want it to work on. And this is like, so now I'm 67 years old, and my brain doesn't work the same as it used to. So I'm having to figure out what motivates you now. What's your motivation? And what do I have to do to get you to do what I want you to do? So that's what I'm figuring out. I'll tell you, having the things that I want to do on project lists and, listed on my, in my planner, and breaking things out into steps. So it's small, it's little small successes when I do get something accomplished, instead of like this huge project is fail, fail, fail. I haven't done it. But if I break it down into just getting this one block cut out, check mark, you did it. It's just it's a motivator for me, being having smaller steps that I can check off, and breaking it down and making it into a longer process, because my joy comes in the actual working on everything and not getting it done. My joy comes in doing the hand stitching. While I'm doing it, I'm just feeling so much peace. And working on these projects, I just get so much pleasure out of figuring out when I first look at these instructions, my brain goes, what? It gives me a sense of accomplishment to work step by step through these instructions and get a project in progress and see how it's coming together, and then doing it again, and actually mastering different techniques and new techniques. So anyway, I'm going on and on and on. So I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to get working on my 30 minutes a day of cutting scraps. My working on the slow stitch journal one time. Slow stitch journal I got from Jean at Captain Stitches. She's been quiet lately on her YouTube channel because she is taking care of the hubby and having some personal stuff going on. So she's getting on her YouTube channel when she can. But look at her older videos where she is teaching us how to do some hand embroidery stitches and how to make the slow stitching journal. So I'm still working on that. So I'm going to work on that this week. And I'm going to quilt these pieces for the ICASE, and then maybe get the pieces for Morning Glories cut out. So that's my hope for getting done this week. So we'll see how that goes. And let me know what you have planned for your week. And we'll get together later in the week and find out how each of us has done. So this is Liz signing off. And I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye.